Hi everyone, Michelle here. Thank you for joining me today on my channel as I am putting together a layout for the YouTube sketch hop. Now this hop happens every month. It's one of my favorites, and get together with some other scrappy friends and we do a layout based on a sketch and a theme. And so this month our sketch and theme were picked by Jessica, and she chose this great sketch from each e-page maps. And it has the hexagons, it has some different embellishments. Now, these happen to be fruits. Not sure yet what I'm going to use. And some sewing. So I probably will stick pretty close to the sketch. I love hexagons. I love sewing. So yeah, it has a title and some journaling under it. And then some more hexagons up here. I'm not 100% sure if I will do mixed media on this layout. That remains to be determined. I am going to use these pictures of a crop that I was at just this last weekend. Now it fits into my favorite because not only is this my favorite crop that we do every year, which is called the mountaintop crop. It is up at Mount Baker Chalet and looking at beautiful Mount Shuckson across the way there. But also this was the last one. So I've been doing this hop for years and years and years, every October or late September. But there's been some changes, and you know, all good things come to an end at some point. And so these are some pictures. These are the gals who were here this last weekend. It's usually 2 weekends. And so this next weekend, there will also be the last swan song. And so here we are getting our picture taken. Mountaintop crop, thanks for the memories, 2025. And then the Mount Shuckson that you can see from the deck there at the chalet. And so the picture calls for a 4.5 by 3 and a 4.5 by 3. So I just cut that part in half, and so that will work. I think I might use this Nature's Haven collection. Now, I am on the design team over at My Creative Scrapbook, and we had this collection in either July or August, I think, and I really loved it. And so I actually used most of it up and got some more pieces from my little scrapbook store to supplement what I had left. Here's, you see, I had quite a few embellishments left, but not a lot of pattern paper. So I got more embellishments, you know, because why not? And this is mainly the flowers and such. I got the solids, which is really some textured looking cardstock with polka dots on the back. And then I also got the 8 by 10 pieces. So these will be good for making the hexagons, unless I decide to do mixed media on the hexagons. That's the part I just haven't decided for sure yet. So that is my current plan. So let's see how this all comes together. So I do decide to do my hexagons out of pattern paper instead of mixed media. So I'm going to use a white background just so the pattern paper shows up a little better. Looking at different 6 by 8 pieces. I think I mentioned that it was an 8 by 10 pad in my introduction, but it's actually 6 by 8. So I am going to use a 6 by 8 as the base. Now that's not going to be quite big enough, so I am going to make it a little bit larger by backing it with this pink polka dots. 12 by 12. So I'm going to cut that down to 8 by 10, then mat a pattern piece on top of it. I'm still kind of trying to decide, you know, which pattern piece I'm going to use. And I get out my hexagon dies. I'm going to actually cut out my hexagons on my Cricut because I want to put in sewing thread holes, but I'm using my dies just to get a feeling as far as what size I should use. And so I decide on this, I think it's 2 inch hexagon. And now I'm just digging through my stash looking for patterns that I want to use uh, in my hexagons. And I do a lot of check and polka dot and just a few pattern. Now I was looking at using that floral as my background, and I changed that because I want to use that particular pattern as one of my hexagon pieces. And so I'm digging through a little bit, and I think I've just about decided, yeah, I'm going to go with that one for my background. And I want my borders to be a little, the margins to be a little slimmer. So I just cut it in half and I am going to push it out a little bit. And my pictures will cover that slice. And so I am inking with saltwater taffy. And I don't do a whole lot of inking because I don't have a lot of uh, square or edge embellishments like that, but I do ink these two pieces and I have matted my photo with a green gingham just to keep it easy to move around through this process. And at this point, I've already cut out my hexagons and I have done a blanket stitch. You can see them in my little star dish up there to the right. I did use a blanket stitch. I am not a hand sewer, and so they are very rough and rustic. So good thing perfection is not required. Uh, and so I am not going to do a ton of mixed media like I have mentioned a few times, but I did get these irresistible rub-ons from Vicky Booten, and I thought I would test them out on this layout. So I'm going to use the one that says hello, 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 and I'm going to apply that under our photo there in that white section. And I'm also going to use the dots that are in the collection. So I cut it into a few different pieces, and I am going to use that to the left and the right of my hello. And then I'm also going to use it up on top where I'm going to put my title. So I haven't quite decided how I'm going to do my title as far as what it's going to rest on. I am going to use that perspective. You can see it off there to the left. It says crazy fun because uh, these gals who put on this crop every year, crazy fun is definitely the definition for them. And so many great skits and laughs and just a great time. And so I am using my hexagons there to see how much space I have up above. And I'm going to go ahead and put on those rub-ons. And then I'm going to use, I think, yeah, mowed lawn over the top of it just to see how it works. Now, one other thing that I have done primarily off camera is machine stitching. And so I did stitch around that pink block. And then after I get my color on these rub-ons, I am going to do some zigzag stitching through there. And so you will see that in the final layout. I am going to just flick some water on it just to activate that distress water feature that is so great about distress inks. And I think I'm ready to start getting things onto my page. So I did change the orientation of my pictures a while ago. I'm not sure if you noticed, I moved the picture, the group picture down below because there are going to be some overlapping embellishments and I did not want to cover that picture at all. And it really worked out great because that hello, hello, hello ribbon is underneath. And so that certainly was appropriate. So now in the sketch, it has a variety of the hexagons either overlapping the photo or going underneath. I just leave the two on the right overlapping the photo. So I'm going to tuck in that orangey red one that is up above here shortly. And then in the sketch, it has the one down to the left under the photo. And so that all works out just fine. And then I decide instead of having my photo on or my title on a block of some sort, as the sketch shows, I'm going to have it on one of my hexagons. And so I move one of the hexagons from the bottom left up to the top right, and my title just will sit in it perfectly. So I really love how that turned out. And so now I'm taking a look at how I want to build my embellishment clusters. And the hexagons are so cute. Probably didn't need to go as big as I did with my clusters, but I just can't help myself. And so I am using a couple of frames. And so I chose the frames so that you could really see the hexagons under them a little bit easily, but you really can't see them by the time I'm done. And, that's okay. Like I mentioned, I have a lot of embellishments from this kit. And so any opportunity to use them, I am going to take it. And so I'm going to build that one down below with a lot of the flowers and leaves that are in the laser cuts. And then the sketch, it did have like a horizontal piece. I thought about using a little log for that. And then I decide just to do away with that completely. It felt like just one too many things. And so, as you can see here, I have eliminated that. I am using a couple little hearts that were in the collection. I think I switch out that one that was just on camera for one that's a little bit smaller. So you'll see that here shortly. And then I am also using some of the fall leaves that are in the collection because this was just last week. So we're definitely in that October time period. And I am also going to use some of the butterflies, and I am using foam tape in some of these and just having it flat in other areas just to add a little bit of shadow and dimension. So I'm going to take a look up above, and this uh, collection up above is going to be very similar. I'm going to use one of the flower clusters that comes in those laser elements, the leaves that you see there, some yellow flowers, and some of the hearts, and some of the, is it oak leaf? Is it a maple leaf? All that stuff I learned in school has escaped my brain, but it might be an oak leaf. I am also going to add a little pile of books up there. I mean, they're not scrapbooks, but you get the point, hopefully. And it was a good way to kind of tie in that pink hexagon, filling in that space between the title and the cluster. I don't need it to be like totally touching, but I do want things that kind of lead your eye in that direction. So, all right, so there are some of the hearts. So that one is going to move. And adding in a few more little butterflies. So just a few little details. And I think that I'm going to add some black splatters here in a moment. And then I'm going to let this rest overnight. It feels like it's not quite complete, but I haven't figured out yet what it is that I want to do to make it feel done. So here are my black splatters. And I am a big fan of, taking a break, looking at things with a fresh eye. So this is the next morning, and I have put a couple little strips under my happiness is and simple pleasures that were in my clusters. And then I have added just a little bit more to that crazy fun hexagon, just because I felt like it needed something. It was the title is so white, something to draw out your eye. And then on my butterflies, I just drew a couple of little flying trails, adding this butterfly here so it is looking down towards our group picture. And then I'm going to add some rhinestones to my butterflies. And so that is going to be it. It feels much more complete now. So be sure to check out the playlist, right? So it is in my description. Check out all the other so talented ladies and their great ideas with this sketch, and I will see you on my next video. Thank you, everyone.